What's up, guys? It's your boy GTS the King, and I'm just gonna go ahead and tell everybody the fact of the matter is my father passed away on 7/7/14, and one of the hardest things that I've had to deal with is the fact that he's no longer here to talk to about some of the things that just like are constantly going on in my mind about just random shit. And yeah, I was talking about this on Facebook, and a buddy of mine had asked me about my music and stuff, and he said, "I see you're still doing that, but you haven't posted anything on YouTube or Facebook, video-wise, in a long time." And I said, "Yeah, it's just been, it's been crazy and everything, even before my father's passing." And so he asked me, he said, "Well, if you're having all this trouble and stuff, not being able to communicate, what you're trying to say and stuff without talking to your father, why not make a video and just talk however, and see if people can relate or whatever. Just might be a good way to get shit off my chest and what have you." So I figured, why the hell not? We'll go through this and stuff. One thing I've been talking about a lot lately is just like a theory I have and stuff. Most people believe in aliens, and from ancient visitors to modern day extraterrestrials who visit Earth with an agenda. That seems to be like a pretty popular belief between almost, like, I'd probably say at least 60% of just Americans, if not more, believe in aliens. Now clearly the creation myths of each ancient civilization discuss alien gods who descended from the sky for any number of reasons, some of who allegedly mated with human women to create bloodlines or created humans through biogenic experiments. In the duality of physical reality, there would be good aliens and bad aliens who would have great battles just as we do while visiting here. Ancient aliens, as we envision them, based on endless physical evidence found across the planet, does not actually refer to a group of extraterrestrial beings who came here once upon a time, but is more about those who create the consciousness hologram in which we experience and learn. Reality is consciousness created in the matrix of time to study emotions. As we search for the truth behind the illusion about who created humans and other sentient life forms, we look to those who came from the stars, ancient astronauts or creation gods. One must never forget that if there are indeed extraterrestrials who are physical beings after a fashion, and that creation continues beyond their agendas, they are a subroutine, for lack of a better word, within our programmed reality. Call it a grand design, master plan, or whatever term comes to mind, but remember, it had a beginning and is rapidly approaching its end. Watch the signs, internal and external. That being said, there literally is like an abundance of evidence and stuff that people, if you watch the show Ancient Aliens, they walk you through it and everything. But did ancient astronauts seed the human race, and if so, what was their agenda? Have these ancient astronauts used planet Earth as a place for their science projects, creating race after race using biogenic manipulation, then wiping everything out and starting again? There is a lot of stuff throughout every culture where even I have looked at it and been like, wow, that I see what they're pointing at and everything, and it makes a lot of sense. And according to ancient alien theorists, most of whom who have researched the topic for decades, extraterrestrials with superior knowledge of science and engineering landed on Earth thousands of years ago, sharing their expertise with early civilization and forever changing the course of human history. To this day, researchers look for evidence to support this theory. And like I said, that's where all this like crazy stuff comes in, where you see all these like figurines and carvings and stuff that look like modern day technology, or if you think about an astronaut, it looks a lot like them. And it's kind of hard to argue with a lot of that stuff. Now I know that a lot of it is like power of suggestion, where someone says, "Oh, this is what it says," or "This is what it is," and then like your mind just automatically makes the connections. But even without knowing what it is or whatever, if I've looked at it before I knew, I've made a connection to that as well. So, I mean, it's not all just power of suggestion. There's a lot of stuff out there that's pretty legit. Now, ancient alien theory grew out of the century-old idea that life exists on other planets and that humans and extraterrestrials have crossed paths before. The theme of human-alien interaction was thrust into the spotlight in the 1960s, driven by a wave of UFO sightings and popular films like the 2001 Space Odyssey, which was in 1968. The space program played no small part in this as well. If mankind could travel to other planets, why couldn't extraterrestrials visit Earth? And also in 1968, Swiss researcher and author Erich von Däniken, I don't know how the hell you say his last name, published Chariots of the Gods, which became an immediate bestseller. In it, he put forth his hypothesis that the technologies and religions of many ancient civilizations were given to them by space travelers who were welcomed as gods. He is regarded by many as the father of ancient alien theory, also known as the ancient astronaut theory. Since that time, he has written many other books and appeared in media presenting physical proof of his theories. In 2010, he appeared in the History Channel's miniseries Ancient Aliens, the type of evidence that fucking Eric, I'm just going to call him Eric because, like I said, I can't say his last name, sites can be categorized as follows. The existence of structures and artifacts have been found which represent higher technological knowledge than is presumed to have existed at the times that they were manufactured. Eric maintains that these artifacts were produced either by extraterrestrial visitors or by humans who learned the necessary knowledge from the extraterrestrials. A big one that everybody should be pretty familiar with is Stonehenge, or the artifacts of the Easter Island faces and stuff, the Egyptian pyramids, even like stuff that they find under the sea, like they call them submerged cities and stuff, like they were looking for Atlantis and stuff like that. They've actually found a lot of different things under the sea that they wonder, like how it got there, because humans couldn't have possibly constructed them. But you never know exactly. There's the Nazca lines in Peru, and just so much more that just goes on and on. They have stuff like that, and you do gotta wonder, like, how the hell did we do that? Like, when even nowadays it would be almost impossible for humans to make that, and then here we're saying that they made it thousands of years ago. Well, how the hell did they do that? And so it is interesting. It makes you wonder. Interpretations of ancient artwork throughout the world as depictions of astronauts, air and space vehicles, extraterrestrials, and complex technology. Eric also describes elements that he believes are similar in art of unrelated cultures. Explanations for the origins of religions as reactions to contact with an alien race, including interpretations of the Old Testament of the Bible, and according to Eric, humans considered the technology of the aliens to be supernatural and the aliens themselves to be gods. Eric asks if the oral and literal traditions of most religions contain references to visitors from stars and vehicles traveling through air and space. So, again, like, I guess they do get a lot of interpretations from the Bible, the Holy Quran, different things. And I guess, if you did enough research, you could make the connection between just about anything. I don't know, man. Like, it's kind of one of those things, like, I guess I completely understand where they're coming from, but I'm also a very religious person, so I don't really believe in aliens. But some of the evidence is kind of undisputable, and it's right there in your face. But I have my own theory, and we'll get into that later. Eric says that it should be interpreted as literal descriptions which have changed during the passage of time and become more obscure. Examples such as Ezekiel's revelation in Old Testament, which he interprets as a detailed description of a landing spacecraft with angels in the likeness of man. Moses and the directions God gave him to construct the Ark of the Covenant, which is assumed to be a communication device with an alien race. Lot and his extended family being ordered by human-like angels to go to the mountains due to the destruction of the city of Sodom by God. His wife looked back at the possible nuclear explosion and falling dead on the spot. Now Eric attempts to draw an analogy with the cargo cults that formed during the end of World War II, when once isolated tribes in the South Pacific mistook the advanced American and Japanese soldiers for gods. If aliens visited Earth in the past, could they make an appearance in the future? For ancient alien theorists, the answer is a resounding yes. They believe that by sharing their views with the world, they can help prepare future generations for the inevitable encounter with the aliens that await them. There's so much going on. There's images of winged beings adorn a pair of gold and silver ear ornaments that a high-ranking Wari woman wore to her grave. Archaeologists found the remains of 63 individuals, including 3 Wari queens, in the imperial tomb of El Castello de Homri. I hope to God I said that right. Gold and silver riches from more than a millennium ago have been found in Peru within what appears to be the first untold tomb of South America's Wari civilization, and researchers reported this was Thursday, 2013, it looks like, around June 27, 2013, and the dramatic find is being revealed at a news conference at the El Castello de Humeri archaeology site 175 miles north of Lima. That's pretty cool. There's a lot of different stuff that was going on around then, and anyway, so just as an idea of what I was talking about, you can go around the entire world's culture and find so many examples of ancient astronauts or things that could be explained as being aliens. Now, like I said before, I don't believe in aliens. It's not just because I'm religious. I just really do not believe that there is any other life form out there. I believe that a lot of what we see that we call UFOs and stuff really is our own government, even possibly other governments, and of course nobody's going to tell you that that's what it is because it needs to be a secret. So I'd say that's probably at least 50% of what happens is our own government or other governments who are, like I said, they're never going to tell you the truth because why would they? Okay, so now what I was talking about, my theory, is actually time travel. And as crazy as that might sound, is it any more crazier than believing in aliens? Now, I've done a lot of research on it and actually found out that there are a lot of things that physicists say we time travel in the future a little bit, different ways and everything. If you look it up, they kind of do a more in-depth explanation of why. It's just little things like, for a real everyday example of time travel, consider the satellites of like a GPS. They were not built in calibrations. The GPS atomic clock would gain 38 microseconds over terrestrial timepieces every day, throwing off their location accuracy by several miles. Clocks on Earth tick a tiny bit slower than satellites out in space. Something very small, but you get my point. Now, the reason I was saying that is because a lot of physicists believe that we travel in the future like every day, or there's examples of traveling in the future every day, and traveling in the past would be much more difficult. So, and my theory is, what if, hundreds of years from now, even thousands of years from now, we finally figure out how to travel back in time? And I personally believe that traveling too far into the future would actually probably be impossible because nothing's happened yet. It's just my theory that they will find out that nothing can travel too far into the future, but that things can travel backwards. And I think when they switch their focus and they start trying to figure out how we can travel back in time, that inevitably we'll figure it out. And I believe that there might have been something that happened or has happened. This is where it gets kind of complicated because you got to remember, if somebody traveled back in time, then that timeline has been altered and no longer exists. So that the timeline we're living in has completely been changed. It's not the same timeline. So you got to figure that they lived through this timeline and something happened at a certain point and it it fucked up the world so bad that they realized they needed to go all the way back to like the creation of humanity and help us get further ahead, or change something that would help us. So in fact, it wasn't aliens that, our, original cultures and original humanity was seeing. It was actually us from the future, who have come back to help ourselves, basically, to be further ahead, or whatever the agenda. Like, for some reason, they felt it possible. I also tied that in with something I thought was interesting, was all the stuff that's on the moon, and that's undisputable. Those images, if you look at them, there's been so many experts that, they've studied pictures and things for years, and none of it's organic, none of it is supposed to be there on that surface, but yet they found all these things. So, my theory was, if you had sent a large team of people back to the past to help out mankind to go forward or whatever, you probably wouldn't necessarily want to stay in that area, because your technology might be too much, or it might, throw things off a little, too fast or whatever. So you got to figure, if you can travel back in time, I'm sure to God you have the technology to build a space station or a city or whatever you want to call it on the moon to live, so you don't really screw with too much on Earth. So if they did come back in time, it's not completely unreasonable to think that they would have set up their base of operation on the moon, and that what we're seeing now and what we think is aliens is actually just the leftovers from the city or whatever they built there. Now, that's just completely an off-the-wall theory, and like I said, that's just for people who don't believe in aliens. There you go. That's the only other explanation I could possibly think of if it's not aliens. But like I said, it could still be, aliens. I could be completely wrong, and there's a lot of evidence that supports it. So it's got to be one of the two. Like, there's almost zero chance that nothing happened back then. And like I said, the timeline has been completely altered if my theory is true. So that means that whatever happened either didn't happen or isn't going to happen or whatever, and it could have been, like anything, and the technology that we had in that timeline, caused us to not be prepared for it, whereas they, where they kind of helped us along, or we helped ourselves along. Now maybe by the time we get to that point, if it hasn't already passed, our technology was there to, keep it from happening. So that's just a theory I had that I thought was pretty cool. There are a lot of theories out there where a lot of stuff like that happened because of just, like, people blame it on the Illuminati and different things like that. And it's pretty crazy because there's so much, like, I swear to God, if you get online, there's so much that is blamed on the Illuminati. And I think it's freaking crazy because, I mean, why is everything the Illuminati's fault? And, it seems like that's the go-to thing, is if something happens and it can't be explained, or it seems kind of menacing, or, something like that, let's just blame it on the Illuminati. And to me, that's kind of crazy. Like, you make yourself sound like a freaking nut job, because you're telling me that there's a secret society out there that is to be blamed for everything. One or two things, I understand. If you had proof to say, like, this, okay. But when anything happens and you blame it on one group, that makes you seem crazy. That makes it seem less plausible, which in turn, you're just hurting your cause. So a lot of people, they start to not believe. They think you're freaking crazy. So, but that's actually another one I'm going to film. I'll probably film it right after this and talk about that a little bit. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening to my rants and stuff. Like I said, I really miss my father. May he rest in peace. And it's been hard, but hopefully, these videos will kind of be my, I don't know, they'll be kind of my muse and different things to help me get things off my chest and talk to people. And if you guys want to say anything, comment, whatever, feel free. it is what it is. I mean, I'm not gonna get mad just because you disagree with me or whatever. Never have, never will. So hit me up. Let me know what you think. Peace.
Bitch, you got clipped, jaw chip, shoulda dipped when I said you slip. Talking shit, these haters trip, cause they titles I strip. You had expected bitch, you don't want a conflict, cause you can get shit back home in a body bag zip. Fucking hip hop for clips, illest rapper to ever exist. Mark the world, leave an imprint, no need to try to resist. Take your chick, split a brick, spark a split, she on my dick. See you click, cause I'm the #1 draft pick. And you need to quit, cause that lame ass rhyming gangster shit gonna get that ass lit. Them whack ass lines won't sit. Put down that pistol, you